Hello! Welcome to another work together. Today we're going to make another fun little micro mini in a box. I'm really liking making them, and they make fun little quick gifts. I really like that I can do them fairly quickly, so you're not sitting through an hour-long video, but it teaches you a new way to make a mini album, and you can take that way and you can expand it into something bigger if you want to. So we're going to make another little one, and well, I hope you like it. We're going to start off by just going ahead and scoring the pages, okay? We're going to use an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and there will be extras. We're going to get 2 pages and some tags from 1 sheet of paper. Alright, so we're going to start off with our paper, 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. We're going to start off with it with the 11 along the top, okay? I'm going to score it at a 1/2 inch. Then we're going to score it at 3, 5.5, and 6. Then we're going to turn it around, and we're going to score it at a 1/2 inch and 8 inches. Okay? And that's all the scoring. Now you're going to do one of these for every 2 pages that you want to have in your book. My book is going to have 5 to 7 pages depending on how thick it comes out. So I like to use an odd number. I like to have an odd number in my book. So I will have 1 extra, but that's okay. Then once you're done with all your scoring, so you do all your scoring, let me give you your scores one more time. On the 11 side, you're going to score it at a 1/2 inch, 3, 5.5, and 6. Then you're going to turn it, and you're going to score it on, this is the 8.5 inch side, you're going to score it at 1/2 inch and 8. Essentially, you're scoring it at a 1/2 inch on both sides. Then you're going to take your paper trimmer, and you're going to cut it in half the long way, which is 4 1/4. So we're just going to put it in here, and we're going to cut it in half. And this is what makes our 2 pages. Then I'm going to put them together, and I'm going to cut them at my 6-inch score mark. So essentially, they're going to be 6 inches. Then I'm going to take these 2 pieces, which are scraps. You can tell they're scraps because they're only scored on the bottom. Okay? And what I'm going to do is put those aside because I don't need them right now. Okay, so we're going to put them aside and use them for tags. Any extra papers that you have, put them aside and use them for tags for this book. Alright, then what we're going to do is some cutting. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut off this square. Okay, just going to remove it. Then we're going to cut this up at an angle. There's a score mark here. We're going to just cut it at an angle on one side. Then we're going to turn it, and we're going to completely remove this 1/2 inch. So see what I did? I took that whole spot off. So that's what it looks like now. Then I'm going to take and do that to each end of those 1/2 inches and this one. Okay? So I just angled them all. And then that's all the cutting that you have to do. Okay? So let's do it to this one too, just so you can see. Okay, we're going to remove the square first. Then we're going to cut up here at an angle, and then turn it, and we're going to cut all of this off. Okay, then we're going to angle this 1/2 inch side, this 1/2 inch side, and this one. And that is your cutting. So those are our 2 pieces right there. Okay, now we're going to do our folding. Okay, we're going to start with this 1/2 inch on the bottom. We're going to fold that up and score it. Okay, Then we're going to come over here to the 1/2 inch flap that is not attached to the same side, and we're going to score that up, or crease it up, sorry. And then we're just going to fold it directly in half. Okay, and then after that, you're going to take this flap that you have left here, and you're going to bring it over, fold it over the paper that you already have there, because you want it to come over the crease or over the folds and whatnot. So that'll help it do that if you do it after you fold. Then we're going to apply our adhesive to the 1/2 inch on the bottom and the 1/2 inch on the side, and then bring them together. Okay, just like that. And then there's your page. I like to really work the flap so that it stays flat. Okay, so that is essentially your page. So let's make one more together just so that you can see how it's done again. You're going to take this part right here, this 1/2 inch, it comes folded up. This 1/2 inch here that's not attached to anything, or that's furthest away from there, gets folded up. Okay, and then we fold it in half. And then once it's folded in half, that's when you bring this flap over. And you'll feel that it doesn't quite fold right where it should. You're kind of just working it over your papers there, because you have extra papers there now. Okay, then we open it back up. We're going to put our adhesive on the 1/2 inch flap there and the 1/2 inch flap there, and then fold these together. And just like that, you have your page. This little flap right here is what is going to attach to the next page. Alright? So now, we go through and we start putting our pages together. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My bad, I messed up. The next step is to cut out a couple, some little things. These are going to be your pockets that go on the front of your pages. These are 3.5 by 2, okay? So 3.5 by 2, and you're going to score it at 1/2 inch on 3 sides, just like that. Okay? So we get back out our scoreboard. And we take our 3.5 by 2, put it in there at the 3.5 on the top. We're going to score it at 1/2 inch, turn it 1/2 inch, and turn it one more time and score it at 1/2 inch. And that gives us our U-shaped score marks. Okay, let's do another one. Put it in at the 3.5 inches, score it at 1/2 inch, turn it, score it at 1/2 inch, and turn it one more time, and score it at 1/2 inch. Okay, and one more. 1/2 inch, turn it, 1/2 inch, and turn it. And there we go. That's the scoring for now. Now we're going to take and put these together. What we do is we cut off the squares on the bottom. Okay. Then I like to, just to save some time, I like to fold all 3 folds in and then crease them all at the same time. It's that simple. Okay, let's do another one. We remove the squares. Okay, and then fold all 3 pieces in and crease it. Okay, again, remove the squares. Now you could leave this part off if you don't want to have this extra little tiny pocket. You could easily leave it off. It's not something that's necessary to complete the book. Move the squares. Fold all your pieces in and then crease them. And one more. I don't know if I'll need all of these, but we'll just fold them so they're ready to go. Okay, then we get our squares out of the way. All right, then we'll get our pages, and I have already stuck some together. Okay. So what we want to do, we're going to start with this one. We want to first apply adhesive to our hinge. Okay. Then you take the next page that's going to be attached to it and line it up. I like to line it up with the edge first, and then the hinge part should automatically line up. Okay, once it's lined up, press it in there, open it up, press on the hinge to make sure that the adhesive gets a good stick. Then we take a pocket and we apply adhesive all the way around. And like I said, if you're not going to do the pockets, then just skip this step. And we attach our pocket. Lots of pressure, make sure it's stuck down good, and then help the fold a little bit, because we added another thing to that fold. It's going to be a little bit complicated to fold, but it will do it if you just give it some time. Just make sure that you don't push it right up to that fold either. Okay, so now I have 4 pages connected, and I have nothing on my first page yet, and I'll show you. I didn't put a pocket on there yet, and I'll show you why in a minute. We have to first attach our hinge. Okay, so let's do another page. We're going to apply our adhesive directly to the hinge, and then we grab our next page. Also important is to make sure that your openings are all at the top. And make sure that you're attaching to the front of your page. Okay, whoops. Fold your hinge in. Line up your pages. And then apply a lot of pressure to your okay. Then once you have that, we're going to take another pocket and put our adhesive on there. I just have to turn in my tape. Sometimes my tape goes a little astray. Lots of pressure on the tape. And now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pages all put together. Okay. And I think I'm good with it. I think I'm good with this because I'm also going to have a chipboard cover and back, so we don't want to put too much on it. So the last step is, now we have a hinge for the back to attach to the cover, we need a hinge for the front. Okay, and then we can attach our pocket. So in order to do that, all we need is a piece of scratch paper here, and we're going to cut it at, let's say 1 inch. Doesn't have to be perfect or anything. Okay, and then it should be the length of your book. And just because I don't want to get out my scoreboard again, I'm just going to score this right here on my cutter because I already have it out. And I scored it at 1/2 inch and then folded it. And I'm going to miter my edges just to give them a little angle there. And then we apply our adhesive to one side of our hinge, and we're going to butt that right up against the spine of our book. Just like that. Open it up. Put lots of pressure on it, make sure it's good. Take a pocket. Apply your adhesive to your pocket. And attach your pocket to the front of your page. And then lastly, we just put a little pressure on there. And there we have it. Now, like I said, if you don't want to have the pockets, then leave those off. You don't need them. They're not necessary. They don't add, they don't interfere with the book, but they just add a little pocket, a tiny little pocket. So if you want to put them in, then put them in by all means. And if you don't, then you don't need to. So the next step then is to create our covers. To do that, I'm going to use a thin piece of chipboard here and my cutter here, and I want to make them the exact size of my book, my covers to be the exact same size as my book. So I'm going to measure. My book is 2.5 by 3 3/4. So I'm going to cut this down to 3 3/4. And this is just a, I would say this is a medium weight chipboard. I have thicker, okay, so it's 3 3/4 tall, and I forgot how high it was, or how wide it was. 3 3/4 by 2.5. So I need to cut 2 pieces that are 2.5. This thing doesn't always cooperate here. Good thing I was planning on covering them. Alright. 2.5. Okay, now we have 2 pieces that are 2.5 by 3 3/4, and these are going to be our covers. And I'm going to cover them with pattern paper real quick. I'm using this Heidi Swapp. It's paper pad that I've had for some time, and I have a lot of little scraps of it, so I'm kind of using it so I can use it up. Let's see here. I don't want to, for this little mini one, I don't want to cut into a, I just found a project that I started. That's kind of funny. Alright. I like this paper. We're going to use this for the covers because I like it. Okay. Yeah, I do. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my adhesive around my chipboard and just stick it on the back there. And I'm going to wrap it. So again, I don't worry too much about going directly to the edge. If I was not wrapping it, if I was just covering the front, I would probably use wet glue and make sure that it went all the way to the edges. Okay. Just going to put this in my trimmer here. Trim it up. There we go. Fold up all of my edges. Then remove my corners. Just like so. If you have like some pictures from just like a quick day trip or whatever that you just want to carry around in your purse for a little while, this would be a good way to do it. Just a fun little mini album. I would do it without the box though, to carry in your purse. But if you wanted just a little mini album to store the pictures in, then the box will add a nice touch to it. Okay, I'm just going around and completely wrapping my paper around the chipboard here. I'm sorry, I'm not even on camera. There we go. Sometimes it's easier to just fold the paper over and use it that way. Okay, so there's one. I get a little bit of a tighter crisp, or tighter fold, if I like wrap it around it. So sometimes I like to do that, sometimes I don't. Okay. Lots of pressure, make sure they're all adhered down. And then deciding which one is going to be my cover. I think I want this one to be the front. Okay, so then I take my book and I simply attach this. I put adhesive on my hinge here, just like so. Take my cover, and you'll notice I did not cover the inside yet, and I'll do that after I attach the pages to it, because then I can hide this hinge. And now remember, because we cut it to the exact same size, it just lines up perfectly. And then there we go. Now all I want to do is make sure I use a lot of pressure, press that down, and then I'm going to do the same thing along the back of the page. Same way. Line them up with each other, press them down, and now we have a book. There we go. Okay. So now you have a pocket up here, a pocket here, and then the black back page is blank. Okay? So what we want to do next is create a spine. I think I'm going to leave it for now. I'm not going to create a spine because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with the side of this yet. I'm going to go ahead and let's cover the inside pages. Actually, let's not cover the inside pages. I think what this book needs is a tie to hold it together because it does want to come open. So we need to put something to tie it together, I think. Yes, I think it needs a tie. So let's find a piece of ribbon. Nope. We're not going to use ribbon. We're going to use a piece of I think we'll use yep. We're going to use a piece of seam binding. Okay. I'm going to stick this right there. I want my seam binding to be not quite coming from the center of the book. Okay. But I do like it to come the same way. Okay. Out of both ends. Okay, let's see. Is it lined up? Nope. I need to lower it just a tad. There we go. Now it's lined up. Okay. Then we're just going to cut that off and put this aside. Sophie. Alright. Then the next step is to take some, I like to use just some washi tape, and I bought this nice one, and then my dog got a hold of it and chewed it up. So it has become kind of a scrap piece of washi tape, or roll of washi tape, because my puppy likes to get up on my craft desk and take whatever I happen to leave out. I just like to do that just for a little bit of added reinforcement. I know I'm going to cover it with paper too, but this way I just feel like it's a little bit more reinforced. Okay, apparently I'm just gonna fight with my tape here. Having a dog chew on your washi tape makes it a little bit harder to get off of the roll. Okay, so now we've got our closure adhered well. Yes. What?
There's another problem.
What?
I can't find the page I put in.
Why?
It says it doesn't exist.
Oh, well, I don't know what to tell you then. Let's take a break from it and try again later. Whatever you want. You got all your other homework done?
That's all I have.
Okay, then do whatever you want. I like this one. Not too much pattern, I think. Let's try yellow. No. How about black? Yes, I like the black zigzag or chevron or whatever you want to call it. I like that. I'm going to cut this to that to fit onto the front and back inside covers. You could also put a pocket on the inside cover if you wanted to. I think I won't, just because it seems like I've already got a lot of pockets in there. Okay. Those will work. Perfect. Okay. And all right. There we go. Now you can see why we didn't cover it. This hides the hinge where the page is connected very well. Alright, so there is our little book. Now obviously you would continue covering the pages if you wanted to, or you could just leave them like that if you wanted to and add your pictures. Okay, so the next step then is to create our drawer. Okay, and to do that I'm going to use the craft paper again, because I think it is nice and stiff, so it's gonna be as sturdy as I need it to. I'm going to determine that I want my drawer to be, let's see, I want it to be 3 by 4 1/4. 3 by 4 1/4. And I think I need at least 3/4 of an inch of a depth but I think in case I want to put flowers or something on the cover, I'm going to go ahead and give it, because our drawer is going to be see-through, so we really want to do up this cover, because we can't really do up anything on the inside because we didn't give it room in the spine. So we really do up the cover and the drawer to make, that's where our decoration comes from. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and give mine a 1-inch spine as well. Or a 1-inch depth, I'm sorry, not a spine. A 1-inch depth. So what we're going to do is take our paper, our trimmer, or our scoreboard, okay? We're going to put our paper in there starting at the 11, with the 11 side along the top. Let me just tone down the brightness. Okay, we're going to put our paper in here with the 11 side along the top. We're going to score it at 1 inch because we want to give it a 1-inch depth. And then we're going to score it at 2 inches because we want to double up our sides because I want to make it nice and sturdy. So I'm going to double up my sides. So I'm going to score it at 1 and 2. And then I know that I want my box to be 4 1/4. So I need to go over to 6 1/4. Okay, and I'm going to score it at 6 1/4. And then I'm going to score it at 7 1/4. And I'm going to make a little nick at the 8 1/4 because that's where I'm going to cut it. Okay. Then I'm going to turn it around. And now I'm going to score it at 1 again. At 2 again. And this time I know that I want it to be 3 inches. So I'm going to go over here. 1, 2, 3. It doesn't really seem big enough, but it is. Okay, I'm going to score it at 5, at 6, and then I'm going to just make a little tick mark at 7 because that's where I want to cut it. And this is going to be the start of our drawer, and I will show you how it goes together. Alright, so we get back out our trimmer, and we're going to trim it where we made those little tick marks. Okay. Then we're done with those. Now we just have some cutting to do to put the box together. So we grab our scissors and we're going to turn it the longer way. So our 4 1/4, the inside of the box, our 4 1/4 is here. This box is 8 1/4, so we're gonna do our cutting on the 8 1/4 sides on both sides. Okay. Our first mark, our first cut is going to be right there, and then we're gonna cut up just like that. So I cut those at an angle because then my next cut, I'm going to cut this off. I cut that off completely, and then I'm going to cut this off. And then I'm going to angle this cut just a little bit more. Okay. Then I'm going to cut this one straight on. And I'm going to angle this top one just a little. Like that. So now, this is what it should look like. We angled this right here. We removed this L right here. And we angled this top one. Okay, so let's do it again over here. Our first cut is going to be straight up. We're going to cut this straight up. And then we're going to cut this one angled just to save us from having to do it later. We're going to cut this completely off, and then while we're here we're just going to angle that one just like that. Then we're going to remove that part of it, and we want to angle this part of the tab as well, and then just because we want to angle it here, we want to angle that part too. So that's what we have now. Okay. So let's turn it around and do the same thing. Actually, you know what I'll do? I'll show you what I'm cutting off while it's still attached so that you can see. Okay? So this one right here is going away. This one is going away. And this one is getting completely cut off. Okay? And then this one here gets cut at an angle, and this here gets cut at an angle. And this square that gets left gets angled as well to help them all go together. Okay? And you'll see what I mean when we start to put the box together. So we're going to start off by moving this one up. I'm going to cut completely up. Okay. And then I like to just do this one at an angle to save me. And then I'm going to do an angle cut here. And that takes those two pieces off. And then I'm just going to remove that piece just like that. Then I'm going to angle this square that's left. And I'm going to angle on this side. Both sides of it need to be angled. And I've already done this one. And then all I have left to do is that one right there. And this is what we're left with again. So let me show you one more time. I'm going to cut this off, and this off. And then right here gets cut at an angle, and right here gets cut at an angle. Alright. So let's try it this way. We're going to move, cut up. And this gets cut off. We're going to cut this one up as well. So now we've removed that part. And then we're going to remove this part. And now we're going to cut this one at an angle. Just like that. Then we're going to come over here. Cut that at an angle. And cut that at an angle. And this is what we are left with for our drawer. Okay? Now it's slightly more complicated than a normal box like this would be, and that is because we are doubling up the sides. And I like to double up the sides because if you double up the sides, it adds to the strength of the box. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and crease all of our folds. Okay? Just crease them all up to make it easier to put the box together. Okay. There we go. We've got them all creased. Next step, easy step. On the short sides, we're going to apply our adhesive to the inside inch portion and just press those in. Simple as can be. Remove any excess because you don't want it there. Okay. What this also does is it gives you a nice folded edge to the edge of your box. Okay. Now we flip it over and we're going to put adhesive on all of the squares that we have left. Excuse my dog barking. Okay. So we have applied adhesive to all the squares. Now we're going to flip it back over and we're going to put adhesive on the top portion of these 2 inches of the inches on the longer inches on the side. Okay? Now comes the tricky part. You just line up the edges. So all I'm doing is I'm taking my tab here, putting it inside the box, and I'm lining up the outside edges here. Okay? Stick it in there. Line up your outside edges and then adhere it. Line up your outside edges and adhere it. Simple as can be. Now it's put together. Now we fold these in and these in. And essentially what that does is those help hold those tabs in too. Okay, now you just turn it on all its sides, and now if you did not miter your corners, you might find, if you didn't put an angle on all of those edges, you might find that they don't fold up as well. Just try to push them in there or open it back up and cut them at an angle. Okay, so this is our box now. If we stick our little book in it, it fits in there perfectly. Okay, now the next step is to cover it. So to do that, I think I want to go ahead and use a piece of pattern paper. It probably would be better to not use the pattern paper, but I think that's what I want to do because I like the way it looks. Here we go. Perfect. I'm going to cover mine with this one. Alright. So the first step then is to cut this down to the length. And how I determine that is I just kind of put my box on there. And you want it to be exact. It just needs to come to exactly where your box is. So let's cut this. This is 4 1/4. So we're just cut this to 4 1/4. Okay. Pretty simple. Then we're going to take this. We're going to put it in our scoreboard, and we know that this across is 3 inches. So my first score mark needs to be, let's say, at 2. I'm going to make my first one at 2, and then I know that I have 1 inch in depth, so I'm going to make it at 1 inch. And then my next one needs to be 3, needs to be at I just need to slide it in there just a little bit. You kind of have to maneuver the paper a little bit just to make sure that it's going to wrap around it perfectly. Okay, and then we're going to, I slid it to, it didn't end up on any mark because I maneuvered the paper a little bit, so I'm just going to slide my score mark to the 6 1/2 mark, and I need to go over 1 inch from that, and then I need 2 1/2 inches, so 7, 10, and I'm actually going to cut on that last one. Okay. Now we're going to put this in here and cut that last little bit off because we don't need it. And then we make sure it fits. I like to wrap mine, I like to fold it over the box with it already attached, or with the box there, because then I know, okay, that's gonna work. Okay, but before I adhere it, I want to add a little decorative feature to it. So I'm going to use my die cut. I'm going to use my Spellbinder's Nestability, the only one that I have. I'm going to use, yeah, I like that. I'm just going to line it up in kind of in the center of this, the top portion of my box. And then for good measure, because I have it set where I want it, I'm just going to go ahead and stick a little piece of tape on it so it won't move. And then I'm going to send it through my die cut machine here. Okay. Easy peasy. Then we just gently remove that. You can hold on to this piece that you cut out if you want to. It would make a nice little tag inside your book. Then I'm going to put that back in there. Stick this back in there and put these away. Okay, then we turn this over, and I have here, I have a page protector that I just cut out a piece that fits over that window, and I'm just going to put some adhesive sort of along the edges of it so that it will adhere. Okay. So there we go. And now we take our drawer again. One more time. Kind of try to work those folds a little bit. We're going to take our box, wrap it around. You can see I wasn't completely centered. It's a little bit off, but it's okay. I'm going to be okay with it. Okay. What we want to do is apply adhesive to one side of the box, and then on the outside of the other side. And then again we put it into the box. Make sure you have it lined up, and if you want it to slide in and out real easy, don't put it too tight. Okay. There we go. Once you have it on there, then take it out and crease all your folds a little bit better. Then stick your book inside your drawer, stick your drawer inside, and you have a nifty little gift. And now you can see why I said if you decorate this up, it will look really cool because you can see through the box. And then you can also decorate up here, put some flowers on it, put some anything. I'm going to decorate mine, and you probably have already seen it, but I'm going to decorate mine, and then I hope you make one. I hope you enjoy it. And if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. I just wanted to show you how this tag would fit right in there and match then, because you have the same theme going on. Okay? Anyways, if you have any questions, feel free to send me an email.